2 minutes before 9 on WBZX Big Rapids. Jen, I'll hand it over to you. And you and Pat.
Oh, hey, good morning.
There's
Bob.
no handing it over to me. Pat takes over. You know that.
Well, you know,
You're the boss.
I'm going to tell you, I love Big Rapids, and I love the people in Big Rapids. And over the years, I've had disagreements, but stayed friends with them. And I know some people don't like me because I've taken a stance on things here and there that aren't special to them. But Pete likes me. He's rubbing me. That's good massage, Pete, for an 86-year-old guy. You know, I want to talk about Pete for a minute. He loves life so much. He's been through so much cancer. He's been near death the last 10 years, probably 3 or 4 times near death. And I mean, Pete was out to heaven, hopefully. But anyway, he keeps on going. And I said to him on the way out here, I says, you know, Pete, one of the reasons I admire you, not that I really admire him, but in front of his face, right? No, is your spirit. And he's not gonna go until the good Lord calls him home. And until then, he stays positive. You know, I says, if more people would be that way, it would be a lot better world. But getting back to me.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you too.
But anyway, we've had a lot of guests on here, and some of them we haven't agreed with, but we walk out and shake hands. And our next guest is none other than Jim Chapman. And I think Jim will tell you that we're friends.
Yep, absolutely.
And, I don't hold anything against him from the decision makings. I think it's coming from Jim Chapman. And I think he does things what he thinks is best. And so we're going to have a little program here, a little talk show host, and we're going to be comfortable with it. We're going to have questions, answers. I asked Randy Bleeker earlier this morning if I could ask questions to Jim and then say it's from Randy Bleeker. And
he said no.
He said no.
I listen to Randy too.
Oh, no, and I know, and he's neutral. But anyway, we make light of things over at Curry's. We don't, there's Pete and I argue, but we'll stand up and love each other at the end, right, Pete?
Right.
And more people should be that way. There's people in this town that are despising people that used to be their friends. But I understand it, but I just am disappointed in it. But we only got a little bit of time here, so we're going to move along. Jim, thanks, first of all, coming out this morning.
Not a problem. Just like you said, you can have a difference of opinion. It's a democracy.
Right.
And you can still be friends.
Right. I think that's pretty good. We agree with that. Now, at the end of the show, we'll walk out mad and hell at each other.
Oh, absolutely. But we'll both get over it.
Yeah, really. Take a chill pill. Bob, what do you think? Any questions, Jen?
I've got lots of questions, actually, Jim. Let's start off with something that everybody knows about, okay? Our Congressman, John Molinar, Ambassador Joe Sella, Ambassador Pete Hoekstra, and U.S. intelligence agencies have warned state and local governments of national security threats presented by such PRC, which are People's Republic of China, based companies, and urging them not to sign any deals with them. Critics ask, why is the Green Charter Township Board ignoring it?
We're not ignoring it. We're looking at all the facts. MEDC did a full background on this company before they were ever offered the grant money. As questions came up, there was a second one done. I've listened to the people. I've listened to the people involved, whether it is the people from the company, the people from Right Place, and most importantly, the people from my township. And that political rhetoric of threat, I haven't seen.
Okay. Pat, do you have a question?
Well, I like bacon.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
No, we got to keep it on the
See,
light
we
side.
can agree on something, Pat.
Oh yeah, we like bacon
that's good.
and the donuts. Bob.
I think personally, you have the silent majority that aren't saying a word, and a lot of people are talking, and I'm kind of neutral. I was born in China. If that means anything.
Doesn't.
But I think that it'll pay our bond off at the school in 2 years. I think it'll be create a lot of jobs for the area. I think it'll be, there's a lot of different things. You got to think of the positive. People were against Ferris when it expanded. They were against Ice Mountain. They were against Hayworth. You know, everything we have is made in China. I have a cell phone here made in China. So, you know, I think, I believe that all of Apple is made in China. They're flipping over to India now, but I still think that we are just a little bit funny on some of this stuff.
We're listening to
now-
WBZX Big Rapids. I just
All
want
right.
to do a top of hour.
Pete, my question to that is then, if everything's made in China, why is it they're coming over here to make a battery plant in the United States? Why are they bringing the lithium up? Now, let me finish. If China has that great of an interest in the United States to build things here, you're saying, well, at least they're coming over here for batteries. Are they? Now, my question is, why aren't they making their clothes here then? Why aren't they making their phones here? Why aren't they doing all the stuff that's being made over there here? I'll tell you why, because they can't do it as cheap as they can in their homeland. Now, what bothers me...
Do you want me to let you answer? Can I answer that?
When I'm done.
Okay.
But my question is, this is one of the only things that they're doing over here. Now, why? And you know it's going to cost them more money to make batteries here, right? The labor, of course, is higher here, and they're going to pay, what, $28 an hour? They're going to pay the bond off? Let me answer the bond. The bond will be paid off before they start to pay for a bond. That building will not be built in 2 years, Pete. So for you to say...
Our bond is longer than 2 years, Pat.
Well, whatever,
It's
I'm just saying.
It's a 20-year bond authorized in 2018.
Yeah, thank you.
That takes it to 2038. And like Pete said...
I thought we were getting it shut. I thought we were paying for it quicker than the original plan.
No, not to my understanding.
Well-
It's paid off to 38, except that, like Pete said, even with the Renaissance Zone, they are subject to paying on bonds.
Right.
That includes the school bond, so that school bond will be paid off
Well, I'm
significantly
glad you
quicker.
clarified that. That's not what I
Well, you know, Pat, a lot of this stuff is import-export. And we take a lot of, like Tesla's over in China. They're in Shanghai. We build a lot of things over in China. Apple's over in China because of the labor. But they, in turn, now are going to reciprocate and start building things in America.
Got it.
So, yeah, it's import-export.
Oh.
They want to have a balance of import-export.
They do? China does?
Sure.
Because they love
Sure.
us. Is that why?
Sure.
No, because it's good economics, Pat.
There you go.
If you take a look at it, when President Trump put the tariffs on, my understanding is that if they build those batteries in China and ship them over here, by the time they pay the tariffs, it's cheaper to build it here. It's the same thing with the basic compounds of lithium or lithium iron phosphate. They aren't bringing that in from China either. They have to bring it in from I believe the title is Tier 1 import or company or country that we deal with. So that's why it's coming in from Argentina.
Okay. Let's switch gears for a minute. We'll get off the Goshen subject for a second, okay? Jim, the Green Charter Township website you host has the budgets that the township is responsible for on a yearly basis. The salaries are listed, and it appears you and the board have given yourselves an upcoming 2023-2024 budget cost of living increase of 7% from your sewer budget and a cost of living increase of 10% from the general fund. So that's a 17% increase in your salary in 1 year. If you look back to the 2022-23 budget, it was only a 3.5% increase from the sewer budget. And even the state of Michigan recommends for their current employees a 2% cost of living increase for the 24 year. How did you come up with that percentage, and what is your justification for doubling the cost of living increase for your salary and the board from 1 year ago?
The short version is we didn't, Jen. I think you need to take a look at those figures again, because the discussion was, and has been each year, what is the cost of living, and do we want to go up the cost of living? Inflation kicked everybody's butt last year. It was 9%. Our board looked at it and said there is no way we can give ourselves a 9% raise. And
So it's all based on inflation, no matter what.
We run those numbers based on cost of living.
But
And
the
if
state
I
of
remember
Michigan...
correctly, it was only a 5% raise. So we actually lost money last year, but that's all right.
What? Okay, but you doubled it. And
No.
the state of Michigan is only giving everybody in 24 a 2% cost of living range. So that just, it's kind of different. And that's why I'm asking about it. And
Like I said, it was a 9% inflation or cost of living. Michigan's figures were 9%, and we cut it back. I believe it was to 5%.
No, it's actually on your budget. I got it right here. It says cost of living increase 7%, and then your general fund says 10%. It's actually right on there. See?
Well, I don't know where you're getting those figures. I don't
Your
know what it is,
website.
but I'm telling you that's what the conversation was. You can check with any one of the board members. We all agreed we did not want to go up in full inflation. That was too much to ask the people to absorb, and so we didn't.
It's on your website under the Township Clerks tab. That's where I got my figures from.
I'd have to look at that, but I can tell you what it is, and I know what my paycheck did, and it didn't go up any 10%.
Okay, but it's projected to. That's my question. It's for 24.
For 24, we haven't even started on the budget yet for 24.
But it's right here. See, I have it in my hands.
Okay.
You can take it. Look at it. Go ahead.
But like I said, the figures we dealt with, the last one goes through 24, actually about
Through
March of 24.
Right. So when do you vote on your budget?
We hold every year. We hold the budget hearings usually about the first week of January, a work session, and then the actual vote on the budget is during the January board meeting. Then that takes effect in March.
Okay. Pat, you have another question?
No, I take the fifth. I like bacon, though. No, Jim, I just wish that I watched the meetings, how the board, the body language, and then how the audience. I'm one of those guys. I've been in business for a long, long time, and I've had disgruntled customers come into my store, and when they leave, most of them are pretty content with what I had to say to them afterwards. But you have to listen to your people and answer their questions. Some of them felt that they weren't being heard, and I know hostile environments are hard to get along with people when somebody's mad at you and screaming at you, and I felt bad for you that way. But you hear, do you feel it's the majority out there against the project? I do myself. I've talked to a few people that are for it, and myself as an individual, I live a mile away from that, and I don't feel comfortable. And
if I can mention, I live the same direction. I live the same distance.
Right.
I'm downstream,
Right.
downriver, downhill from the property, and I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, well, that's good. But do you think the majority in your neighborhood are comfortable with it?
Absolutely.
They are?
I'm going with the majority of the people. I think Pete said the idea of the silent majority, and that's what I'm running into, where I've got people that come up to me and tell me how much they like to support me. I say something about, on the campaign signs, this guy's nobody has a lot of yard signs. And what I get was, well, Jim, I'd really like to, but I'm scared to.
Right.
The doxing, the threats, the aggressiveness, the vandalism, I'm scared to. And so I think while it is silent, like Pete said, I think the strong majority is with the concept of that plant. But again, like has been said, it is two separate subjects. This recall vote will not affect Goshen. It will not stop Goshen. It is about the board's performance, and the board has put their heart and soul into representing the people of Green Township.
My question was from number one, from the first time I heard this coming in, when they had the ISD meeting there. I knew about it before that a little bit, but
A lot of people did.
I don't know about a lot of people, but
Well, if you, Pat, you were at one of the group meetings.
Right.
There was a whole series of group meetings of community leaders such as yourself, in which the Right Place, in which Goshen, in which representatives from economic development and the county and others sat down together and discussed it and made sure everybody was aware of all the facts.
Jim, when did you originally find out about it?
About a plant coming or about Goshen coming?
Either.
Oh, plant coming. I've tried to go back through, and I have to say somewhere in the area of April or May, but it wasn't until probably...
April. It couldn't have been April because I was at one of those meetings, and that was April 8th. So you had to have known about it before then, right?
No.
No?
No, they came to me first. Bill Stanek came to me, said there is a company looking at coming to our area. I'm talking with them, but now they're talking about needing more space, and they're going to need to come over. They may need to come over into that industrial zone, that industrial park of yours. And I listened to what Bill had to say. Later, a representative from the Right Place, Brent Case, come and met with me, but at that point, we had no idea who the company was. At least I didn't. Who this company was or what they were about. And we understood the way that these things work, where you can't just make a big deal of it when you really hasn't made up your mind, because you're looking at 40 different locations across the country.
Well, first of all, I didn't know that land was industrial. I didn't know that.
Actually, when Maxine McClellan got the industrial park put into the end of the airport, at the same time, Jack Wellnitz was our supervisor, and he had the whole acreage up there zoned industrial to match. The two supervisors worked together. In fact, the sewer line that goes along the south side of 18 Mile Road was specifically planned to feed and serve both sides of the road.
That's good thinking. My question, two of them were, one was that the transportation cost. Over the years, people have looked up here to put a plant in out there, and the number one cause for them to change their mind was it was not a good location as far as transportation costs. I question that. How the heck did they ever come to Big Rapids? I mean, it's very nice that somebody that would think of Big Rapids for economic boost, but for themselves to do it, the transportation costs can be so much. And the other thing
if I
is,
could interject, Pat, that's really not a government issue.
Oh,
okay,
definitely not. No, I'm talking about
looks
the
at
company.
it. The company looks at it, and they make a decision based off of infrastructure, based off of transportation, based off of all the labor costs, land costs, building costs, and they make their decision. It's not government's place to question all their figures, but rather not, this is something we want to do.
Well, and following up with that is, that's my question. Why would they pick here? Because first of all, we don't have enough people to fill the jobs we have around here now. So I don't know where they're going to come from. They say 60.
Well, if I could interject, Pat, there's been 3 separate professional independent studies that said the labor force is here. Now, the standard that they use is the 60-mile radius. Each of those 3 studies shrunk it down to a 45-mile radius in order to be more accurate, and all 3 independent professional studies said the labor force is here.
Well, in saying
seems
that, then why is Big Rapids Products and Federal Screw, which they both pay pretty good wages and they have a good package there, can't get people to work here? I mean, and they're not going to pay that much more out there. I just don't understand it. The independent studies sometimes, and I'm not saying this particular one is, they'll tell you what you want to hear.
Well, like I said, these are 3 different separate companies, 3 different separate organizations that did the studies.
Yeah.
And this is what they do for a living, and all 3 came up with the same results.
Right.
They wouldn't have come here, Pat, if they didn't think they could make money.
So,
Yeah, there you are.
Jim, would critics say that, though, there's already jobs here? How would an additional 2,000 jobs affect already the jobs that are here? Won't that encourage people to leave their current job at the factories here and go over there? And then that's hurting our other companies that have been here for many, many years.
How much is it helping the workers?
But-
We have to look at all this thing. Yes, It is a competitive market. It is a competitive market for employers. It's a competitive market for jobs. It's a competitive market for everything. And we have a new competitor coming to town. And that alters things, and that is the way of life. Okay? And so, yeah, this company and its couple, three owners might be having to struggle and raise wages, but at the same time, their 100 employees now face the possibility of having more food on the table or whatever other amenities they want for their family.
And look at the ancillary businesses that'll also come into town. I'm not saying gas stations, but supermarkets. There's going to be a lot of different businesses that you don't even know they're going to be popped up. So
and then what are they going to pay?
I don't know, Pat. That's the thing. But what it's going to do is it's going to make it's going to make an economic
right
area.
I understand.
There's going to be a lot more money.
19 Mile Road is going to be a boom out there.
Yeah.
And again, my question is, Jim, and I don't mean to put you on the spot because you don't know for sure, but well, you do, and actually, but the security of China. I mean, when you got a congressman that works in Washington, and you have a governor in Arkansas saying the Chinese are not welcome here anymore, we're going to take their land back. When you have all that going on, and yet we are pretty persistent on letting them come to Big Rapids.
Look at the facts, Pat.
Okay.
Just look at the facts.
Yeah.
Okay. Show me one article where their Fremont, California plant or facility supported or pushed
That's
communism.
not a battery plant, though.
Independence. It's a plant. It's Chinese. You're not talking.
But it's not
you're saying,
manufacturing batteries.
Well,
there.
let him finish.
Okay.
Let him finish.
okay, there are. Okay, so fine. Pick a industry. There are 52 different companies in the state of Michigan that are whole or partially owned by some form of economic company out of China. That show me one article in one paper that shows me one of those companies that is pushing communism. It's not there.
But they do.
Oh, you
and
don't?
their bylaws state it. I mean, that's
Their
one of the first
bylaws
things
end
the critics found.
that's been repeatedly answered. Those bylaws clause that they keep pushing ends at the shore of China. Our companies, Apple has to pay a minimum wage in the United States. Do they pay that minimum wage level in China? No. Why? Because that law ends at the shore. Again, show me an example. I want facts. Show me an example of pushing communism in the state of Michigan. It's not there.
Well, Congress wouldn't approve this. Number one, the federal. Number two, the state. Congress wouldn't let them come in, and the state, okay, and the city if it was full of communism. That's a big scary thing. Communists are coming to Big Rapids.
Congressman John Molinar is running ads on this.
So he's one
state.
congressman.
Yeah, but you just said Congress.
I said Congress approved it.
Mr. Molinar.
He's just one man.
Okay.
Mr.
All right,
Molinar would like to get reelected.
Sure
and if
he
he can stir up emotionalism, he can generate votes. That's his choice. He's welcome to do so. But it's not backed by the facts.
Okay. Can we switch subjects for a second, Jim?
Oh, sure.
Okay, good. Let's go back to your budget for a second. Green Charter Township is responsible for one lift station, yes?
Correct.
Big Rapids Township is responsible for 11 lift stations, right?
Oh,
Do you know that? Or
I know they have a number of them.
Okay.
The exact number, I don't know.
Okay, but back to your budget again, the percentage of sewer revenue that goes towards salaries for Big Rapids is only 2%, but if you look at Green Charter Township's salaries that come from the sewer fund, it represents 22%. Critics ask, why couldn't Green Charter Township's ratio be more in line with Big Rapids?
Because it's a question of volume. Okay? You have a set amount that is paid to the people that maintain that paperwork, and it's a whole lot less users in Green Township than there are in Big Rapids Township. So it's simply a matter of statistics.
Do you bill monthly then?
Pardon?
Do you bill monthly your sewer customers?
Do we bill correctly?
No,
think
no,
so.
not correctly.
Monthly.
Monthly.
Monthly? No, quarterly.
You bill quarterly. So actually you're doing a little bit less work than maybe a Big Rapids Township who bills monthly.
No, I don't think so, because the billing is only part of it.
Okay.
What's the other part of it? I'm just curious. What?
The other part of it is maintenance, monitoring, record keeping. There's a lot of collecting the monies as they come in, answering questions, working with contractors that want to build new, all that.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Keeping on that same budget, the ARPA funds that you guys received in July of 22 and the general fund money you transferred over into the sewer fund, with the sewer fund already having some money in there, total about $650,000 according to your sewer fund expense sheet and revenue. You listed it on your expense sheet to be used for lift station engineering, attorney fees, prep construction, materials, hardware installation, testing, and contract services. You haven't used this money yet, correct?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Why isn't the money listed on the 23-24 expense sheet then, but the money's not shown, but the wording is? Is that just a mistake, or can you explain that?
No, without the figures in front of me, I can't tell you exactly, but...
Actually, it's
there are-
right in your hand. I'll show it to you.
Okay, sure. The figures that what we use and where we use it stays pretty much equal. What are we looking at?
Right there. See, it's listed, but there's no money.
Well, that's because there's no, as you can see, what's that top clause say? It says no numbers yet.
Okay, but
we haven't built it yet. It's for replacement. We haven't built it yet, so there are no engineering fees. We haven't built it yet, so there's no LSA material hardware. There's no testing. There's no attorney fees because we haven't built the thing yet.
okay. When do you intend on using the money?
Using
The money that's earmarked for that?
that, luckily, we're going to probably be able to target because the state grant will be paying for all those generated expenses.
Are you allowed to use the sewer money for other things? And if so, what will you use it for?
No, it's not allowed to use outside the sewer system. The sewer budget is a totally separate budget from the general budget. And so that's going to be a decision of the board, where and how they want to allocate that type of money. For one thing, we know for a fact that what we thought was a sufficient reserve is not sufficient. We learned that when we had to replace a lift station. We all thought $500,000 would go a long ways, and we found out just that it didn't. So any generated money, my recommendation to the board was to be first consider increasing the reserve.
Okay. Pat?
Well, I think you're doing very good, Jim. I think
Thank you.
you've got a lot of information that a lot of people had to hear. Like I said before, we're friends, and we'll continue being friends, but we just have a difference of opinion. Now, on the China thing, going back to that, I just have a little bit of fear being with what is going to be made in there and the uncertainty of the future with the watershed and everything else.
What about the watershed?
Well, I'm just curious. Do you feel real comfortable on the security of everything in the building?
Have you looked at the MSDS sheets? Mm-hmm. It's graphite. And graphite, the MS Material Safety Data sheets that are put out by the feds, states natural graphite is inert and insoluble. To the best of our knowledge, natural graphite does not present any significant environmental hazard. Lithium carbonate states shall not be classified as hazardous to an aquatic environment. As a comparison, standard school chalk. Do not empty into drains. Product contains substances which are hazardous to the environment.
There you go.
I think critics would ask, and the problem with asking him questions about Goshen is we don't have Chuck Thalen in here, so we don't have those answers. So he's
I'll play cards with him tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You'll ask him, Pete.
Well, this is a good interview.
And we don't use
Taking
chalk.
good,
And we don't
Pete.
use chalk in the schools.
Taking
But-
good.
The-
Yeah, but I just want to say, can I just say one thing?
Go ahead.
No.
Yes.
I'm not for Goshen. I'm not against Goshen. I am. I happen to like Jim Chapman very well, but I'm not for either. I'm not for it. So if you want to recall me from the school board or something, okay. But I'm just saying, I'm just wanting to get the facts. And Pat and I argue a lot, and we.
No,
I just want to
you
give two sides to
don't agree
everything.
with me.
Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Pete.
Thank
I want to
you.
ask Jim a question because of what you said.
Okay, good.
Why do you think the recall is happening, Jim?
I think there is a small group that has gone from emotionalism that, factory, pollution, bad, instead of actually looking at the facts. And the facts are like I just read to you about the MSDS sheets as compared to, it's going to destroy our environment. And they found that emotionalism has worked for those that take them at their face value and don't do the research. And so that's caused some misled people within our community. And it's caused confusion and it's caused conflict, and I regret it.
Yeah.
Would you have changed anything since April of this year? Would you have done anything differently?
I think I would have worked harder to get the information out in front of the people faster. This small group came with that, and we knew there'd be a small group coming. But the power of the internet to spread rumors and misinformation did take me by surprise.
So you don't think any of it's fact? Any of the rumors, any of the information?
Do I think that that they tried to take 2,000 acres, which goes clear up into the village of Paris? No. Do I think that they talked to the EPA? No, because I've seen the facts that they have never talked to the EPA. Do I think it's going to destroy the aquifer? No. I talked to a state hydrologist that said, Jim, they could draw 3 times that much water and never hurt that aquifer. Do I think it's going to destroy the river environment? I just read you the MSDS. So there's a lot of misinformation.
Do you think
out
the
there.
communists are coming, by the way?
No, I really don't think so. I didn't think, no, we won't go there.
Well, I think you said one thing, and I wish the heck everybody would have done that, is communicated. And I think it would have been worthwhile maybe if you would have spoke like you are right now at a meeting. Did you ever bring those facts up to those people?
Well, Pat, if you go into Big Rapids Township's webpage and into Green Township's webpage, count the number of regular meetings and special meetings that dealt with the Goshen issue. 45 meetings in the last 13 months. I think that's there. As far as trying to communicate, I have tried that. I opened my doors up. I have talked to people one-on-one on all sides. In a meeting where you have 200 people there, or now it's down to 50, 60, 70 people. But if you got 20 people there, you can't sit there and debate with each and every other. I tried to answer a few questions. The last meeting, there was a bunch of people, 3, 4, 5, whatever, 10 people talked and got upset because I wasn't answering them. I was listening. It's public comment, not public questions. Now another person came up, what's the number of honest questions? And I tried to answer them, and I got shouted down, what are you doing campaigning, blah, blah, blah. And so I got the latest questions answered. She sat down. Another 5, 10 people spoke, and they all upset because I wasn't answering questions. I mean, either I'm wrong for answering questions or I'm wrong for not answering questions. I'm sorry. Pick a side.
Would you be willing to have people ask you questions on a public forum like this if I were to set it up?
I have tried to do that on multiple occasions. We have put the information out way back, however many months ago, where we had a number of subject matter experts in. I tried to set up a debate. The other side chose not to participate. It's becoming a question of how you get this done.
I think Jen would do a fantastic job. And I think that she's very knowledgeable and very fair, open-minded, and I would say yes, let her do it with you. and I think you'd be surprised.
I think if we tell everyone, no scream. We haven't screamed today, have we, Jim? I mean, I don't think we've screamed at each other. We've asked some tough questions, but we haven't screamed at each other. And I think if people had the opportunity to ask some sincere questions, that might help. Don't you agree?
I think we did that before. I think Chuck and I both came in here. You had, let me see, Orman and Jeff, and who else?
I wasn't here.
I wasn't here either.
That would have gone better if I would have been here, because I like bacon. You know, Jim? Don't you think, Jim?
Absolutely.
It would have went better if I would have been here.
All right.
Why aren't you serving bacon today?
Because I didn't bring any. I ate it already.
He is serving bacon at Curries.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If you want a good breakfast.
I got it already.
All right, let's wrap this up, guys. Jim, why don't you leave us with this question, the answer to this question. What makes you the perfect person for supervisor of Green Charter Township with this election coming up on November 7th? What makes you, what should people realize about you wanting to be supervisor that they should make you vote for him? And if they're opposed to what you are bringing in, why should they vote for you?
I think what I bring to the table, my ability to work with multiple groups, such as studying in here and talking to you folks who don't necessarily agree with me, and our ability to sit there calmly, my ability to lead under administrative issues or under stress issues. I was one of the 2 officers in charge of that riot in 1993, so it can't too much question my handling emergencies. Skill, education, I hold a master's degree in public administration. Show me one other supervisor, and there probably may be some. You won't find very many. And the ability to handle things such as grants. I handled multi-agency grants at the police department. I know how to work with large groups and small groups, and I know how to represent our people, all the people, not just the few loud ones.
Okay.
Well, I know he likes Boy Scouts.
Well, let me see. Tim was 5 years old when I started working with Boy Scouts. He's now 40.
You get that land taken care of?
That's still an issue to be discussed, and we're working on it.
Lord, that's been 3 years.
I know, and then Special Olympics. Well, let's see. Yeah, Tim's 40s, and he was probably about the same age. So I've been working with Special Olympics for 30, 40 years. I give back to the community. I try to give back to the community, not just talk about it, not just sit on boards, but get out there and set up. You all see me out there at the Polar Plunge every winter, helping raise money for Special Olympics. I go to summer camp with the Boy Scouts.
Wow, yeah. Well, I know you got a big heart, and I just, like I say, I haven't felt comfortable. I understand your side more today than I did before, and I appreciate you coming in and standing up for your position. I still think there is a God, and the will of Him will happen, but with everything going on in the world right now, I guess, just a lot of people are not happy with what's going on, and this is just one part of it. Emotions, like you say. But there's unfortunately, what?
No, nothing. We just had to adjust something.
Oh.
Okay. Well, yes, emotionalism is an issue, Pat. But what you have to do is put past emotionalism and look at the facts.
Yeah. Well, like I said, obviously you've done a good job here with your facts. Counter facts, I don't have any data in front of me, so I can come back at you. We appreciate you coming in today, and I like Bob. Thanks a lot. You've been quiet. Any questions for Jim, Bobby? Huh?
If I could just interject my thanks to everybody in here.
Yeah, we ain't hostile, right?
No, absolutely not. You want facts, you want information, and you ask questions, and we'll go from there. That's the way this is supposed to be done.
Yeah, well, the other thing I wanted to tell people, I mean, we do disagree on this, and I don't think you've changed my mind, and I haven't changed your mind, obviously, but I do tell people that we are friends, and you do come in my gas station still, even through all this.
Absolutely.
I said, you know what?
He did
A lot to say
today.
about him. That old boy comes in my gas station still this day, and I can't say that for some people. And that's too bad, isn't it? Yeah. Because we do have different opinion, but we have a lot in common too, and that's Americans.
Absolutely.
Yeah. God bless America, huh? Well, Bobby, what's our song going to be? Gordon Lightfoot.
Return. You're a little weak on that one, Bob.
I think we'll do a little Elvis.
I can't hear it.
Thank our sponsors there, Pete, would you?
Yeah.
Well, I don't really know how to do that anymore, but I like to thank Seth Winger. I'm going to say it nicely at the Winger Agency.
Good guy.
I'd like to thank Big Rapids Pennzoil at the Big Rapids
Yep.
Pennzoil. Zach Man.
Yeah.
Zach Man.
No.
And then I'd like to thank 911 Restoration
What song are
Service.
they going to have?
I don't know. Help, 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 I'm in trouble.
I'm wet.
help, help, I'm in trouble.
Joe's a good guy, yeah.
And
Well,
next week we'll be doing a Family Feud game after Curry's Corner, so stick around on
Well,
B103.9.
And my sister-in-law died this week, and I
I'm
feel
sorry,
bad.
Pete.
Eunice,
sorry.
Lucy's sister, she died unexpectedly. Went to nursing home one day, died the next, and
then plus, when this thing's all over, the election, we'll get back onto our normalcy, and I want to do a tribute to Fred Zimmerman.
And
I
just
think
to
we
clarify,
should.
Jim, just one last question. They can vote at the township, correct?
Absolutely. The vote is at the township.
But if
At
they're-
Green Township Hall.
And what
But
date?
if you don't like him, you're going to shut the door and say, we're closed for the bathroom
No.
duties.
No, heavens no. Actually, we're trying very hard to be very fair and neutral. The township clerk out of Deerfield Township is going to come up and run the election. So and she's bringing her own crew, and so there's
Why
no.
is that?
So there's no question
What-
of bias or anything being done. We're just trying to be very fair, unbiased, and transparent.
What date?
November 7th. It's
Are you going to have donuts and coffee there?
I always have donuts and coffee for you. I might even find some bacon.
All right.
All right,
Come on,
all right. Bye-bye, Bobby. Play a good song.